Hello. I'm Jakob. I'm Mazetools. Hello. I'm Jakob. I'm part of the Mazetools team. In this video, I will do a tour through the app. I've made a little script for this video, so I don't can forget anything I want to talk about. And if you own the free version, it will give you all necessary information until a certain point. From this, all I will talk about is about the pro version. You can support our work by buying our products, of course, subscribing to our channel, or just following our streams and have some questions and ideas. And this also brings us further in the progress of development. So many people wonder about the name Mazetools Soniface, and actually it's a metaphor. A maze is a winding path, a labyrinth, a detour, which you walk maybe while doing music, because exploring and playing an instrument is similar to this kind of path. And so to explore an instrument is also a kind of maze. It's less about the result in our case, in the case of Mazetools Soniface, or maybe at all in music. It's less about the result, more about the process. So Soniface means sonification interface, an interface to translate whatever into sound. And this utopian idea is also a metaphor for an idea that a tool could, for example, your own mood turn into sound, which is, of course, totally subjective, but it plays an important role in our idea behind the Mazetools development, and this is also what motivates us. So more than 10 years ago, the Maze project was born, and it started all with the grid and audiovisual connections. And then over the time, there came more and more kind of multimedia interfaces for the visuals and for touch and multi-touch, and also for the interaction maybe with MIDI and making sessions with other musicians and making just sound and have fun. And over the time, more and more people ask about, like, could it be maybe an app? And so over the time, it really became an app, and it was released 2017. And now, during the past 2 years, we have massively developed the app further. And a special feature is the control and the control of the instruments by body movements. And this works through camera tracking, and it works with a regular webcam. And many years ago, 2018, we released already the first version of Mazetools Soniface, and there we had already Kinect tracking in, but it always needs a separate device. And so our dream was always that it could maybe work with a normal webcam. And over the years, the development of all these machine learning libraries came further, and we use in this case the Google Media Pipe, and it works pretty well on iOS and on Android, on PC. We are still working on making it available for Mac and Linux. So, like you already heard, there are different versions of Mazetools Soniface. You have it available on iOS, Android, PC, Mac, and Linux. And the core of the app is nearly the same, only the connection of special interfaces differ from platform to platform. For example, the use of surround sound 7.1 audio output, or having several projectors connected, and um, so it works on smartphone, on tablet, and on desktop computer. And yeah, of course, it works just also with mouse and keyboard. And many people wonder about, okay, there's a free version, there's a Soniface Pro and just Mazetools Soniface, and what's the difference? Where should I buy the Pro version? At the end, uh, it's about the way of composition, and you can make also composition in the free version, and we really like to share this with the world because this was our idea in the beginning where we made a free version, and there was just one instrument, the maze, and in this instrument several modules, and there was just the grid and the sound. And after the time, more and more modules came into the maze, like the rhythm module and also the sampler module, the granular module, and we still had the free version and thought like, okay, that could be also in the free version. And at the end, the main difference is that you can make whole compositions in the pro version, and this is kind of limited in the free version. So actually that's it. And of course some connectivity features like the special visual interface, and yeah, the also the internal audio recording is kind of limited. Yeah, actually our pro version is also a kind of supporters version. So if you like to support our work, if you like the free version, you can just support us by buying the pro version and spread the word. And what I already talked about in my last streams was the different design modes. I will skip this in this. I will skip this today. You have different design modes. Just have a look into the other streams. And what I want to talk today about is the modules and how to come to the modules. Like you already see here a module. It's the grid synth, and maybe start a bit more from scratch. So when you start Soniface, we'll come to this interface and give you the possibility to add different instrument modules, or to go to options and just load a session. Or when you like to start, in this way you can also reset and type save as and type a new session, like new session. So check. And this is our new session. And within the sessions, or within my new session, a new set was generated. And this set includes all what I already did until the point of saving. So it's kind of image, and it's unique and it can't be overwritten. So when I save new, you see there is another state saved. This way you can also save a pattern, which is really interesting when you make a composition. And you can also save a pattern in the free version and then also load whole patterns in the free version. But what really interesting is when you have composition in the pro version, you can just save a pattern and insert it in any other composition you did. You can also save and load mazes. And this is what I will talk about now. So a maze is kind of step between a single instrument and the pattern. So a maze includes several instruments. In this case, it includes the grid synth, the key module, the sampler module, and the rhythm module. And this is still kind of headlines for this module, because every module have different submodules. So the grid synth is the oldest module in this way in the software, and it works kind of a string instrument. Like, you can imagine that a grid line works like a string with a own tone, and you can choose or you can select these tones via the key interface. But I will come to this further. First, you can activate the grid synth with this wave controller. And I will turn now on the additional help function. So we described every controller with this additional help function. And if you want to have some further information, you have these 3 little dots you can tap on, and you get some further information about this specific help text. So there's some tips. And here you have the radius and the angle. So the wave defines the grid synth volume, and the angle defines the frequencies. So you have different effects for this synthesizer. For example, the low pass, like you heard. And then you have the shape interface. And in this interface, you can draw a curve, and it influences directly the synthesis of the sound. You have the physics controller. There's the room controller, which is also in this interface. And the room is really important because it's the reverb effect, which can also influence other modules. But yeah, let's talk about this later. So here's the reverb volume, the radius, and the angle is the reverb length. We have some crazy effects in the physics interface. For example, the magnet. and you have the sequencer. So the sequencer have different nodes you can choose by selecting the rings. Now we hear nothing, and this is because the wave controller is off. And while the sequencer is active, the permanent grid sound, this drone, is off. I can turn it on again while tap on trigger. So now I can switch between the sequence and the permanent sound. There are different arpeggiators also, which are quite nice, like the random arp. Or the butterfly arp. Maybe make it a bit faster. And like you already saw, I can draw a little curve for the amplitude. And the modulation refers to the filter, like this low pass. Yeah, this is mainly all about the different submodules of the gridsynth module. And like I already said, it's really close connected to the key interface. So let's turn on the sequence again, and I will now change the key. What you heard is the notes, the change of the notes which the gridsynth gets from the key interface. We have a different mode which came with the development of Mazetools Mutant, and there you have the kind of hyperphase. We call it hyperphase in Mazetools Mutant. In Soniface we call it now the live pad, and here you have a little controller, the live pad, and here you can see just the notes I selected in the key interface. So it was just a major chord, was C, F and G, and I have it here. And because you can just experiment when you don't know anything about notation and stuff. You can just experiment, or you can go to the picker and then select a chord, like the C major chord. And here you have, oh, it was actually, it was not the C major chord I had before. I'm sorry, I'm also not used to it so much. And you have now the C major chord. You can see you have a whole list of chords you can use, or you can also use a scale. We have different scales. Like here's a nice example. You see the chromatic scale, and all notes are selected. So when I turn now on the grid synth, it will use the chromatic scale. Which actually don't sound so nice anymore, because the chromatic scale uses every note. And yeah, it's like when you have a regular piano and play all keys together, you need to know which keys work together. And for this, you can just use a predefined chord or predefined scale. Yeah, and this is about the key interface. And the key interface, so I come now to the next module, takes also influence of the sampler and the bus of the rhythm interface. So have a look into the sampler. But before I will drink just a bit. Just some additional information about the key interface. You can, of course, also use just a MIDI keyboard and select the keys with this interface. Or we have included also this keyboard, which now uses the just the keys which are selected when I tap on this little drop. But I can also just make an own chord by selecting it manually with the keyboard, or with an external MIDI keyboard. So going back to C major. And go into the sampler. Maybe you heard it already the whole time. You have here a sample in the background. It's a field recording. There are many field recordings and the samples we provide within the software. And you hear it kind of spatialized. So when I make it like shifting it to the left and then to the right, it shifts also the position, especially when you hear it with headphones. So here in the sampler, it's connected with the room. I will turn it off. So the room is the reverb and the grid synth. I will turn it off. Now it's more pure, the sound. And you have here this little in and out points. So you can just select a small piece of the sample. And you have the main pitch. You can pitch this sample. can also pitch it more. Maybe I can show it here. Yeah. You can also pitch it by notes and by octaves and smaller steps. You have it spatial now on, like you already hear it. It's shifting from the left to the right. When I turn it off, it's just a pure stereo sound. You have the melodic function. I will show you this when I use an instrument sound for the sampler. You have the possibility to link the sampler sound to the grid sound. I'll just turn this on. Yeah, maybe something is currently not initialized. Okay, maybe this is something for the next stream. So it's pretty simple. You can also reverse the sample. Maybe I will keep it like this and repeat the workflow. So when I want to use a sample, maybe a field recording, like waves from the Baltic Sea. So the sample is looped within this in and out points. And then the nice trick is for a soundscape to make an animation. So it's lightly shifting the whole time between left and right because of the spatializer. Now it's a bit extreme to demonstrate this. But you can make it also just really slow and it's more subtle. If you like to work just with the really basic sampler, you can just use the volume and the in and out points and make such spatial soundscapes with different samples. If you have some sample which is maybe a bit noisy like this one, you can use the equalizer to change frequencies and make some cut off and high pass. And if you wonder how I can change the sound, you can just tap in the middle on the name and change the sample. Or you can also go to the library tab and use your own samples, user. I will put the destinations of the user folder into the description, and you can also see it in my first live stream. There's it also in the description. You find it also in the guide of the app. You will find within the FAQ the right destination where to paste your samples so they can be included as user samples. There are more effects for the sampler, like another low pass, chorus effect, tremolo, which can be synced to the main beats per minute. And many more. Of course, echo and feedback is really interesting. So in this angle the echo is really short, then it gets longer. So you see the angle is the echo time. And the feedback is not only the feedback for the echo, it's also a distortion effect when I change the angle. Okay, this is the regular way to use the sampler. And then you have the granular sampler. Shift now. The granular sampler is a method you can use to sample as a synthesis between a sampler and a synthesizer. So the granular slides the sample into really small pieces. It's called grains. And you can just take one of these little pieces and use it for another sound synthesis. And the best way is to just hear it. You heard the granulizer can be controlled also by the volume of the sampler, but you have also another volume controller for the granulizer. It's the grain damper. To use the granulizer in the way that it's holding the position of the playhead of the sample, you can see here this is the playhead. It's shifting when I change also the in and out points. But yeah, it's here you can see how the playhead is moving. And the grain walking in this angle is really the playhead is stopping at that position, and when I turn it the angle of the grain walking like this, then the playhead is walking. See? In the reverse direction or in the regular direction. Now the sample is played really fast. You have some further functions like the grain fade. Okay. Another function I want to show you within the sampler is the way how to use an instrument sample within the sampler, and especially in the granulizer. For this, I will add another maze. So I tap here in the middle, or you can just also tap on the maze and tap on new and go to the granular, and there you have different presets of the granular interface. And a really nice one is the harmonic grains. It's a preset we provide which fits directly with the key interface I have in the other maze. But if I want to have separate nodes, if I want to have different nodes than the grid synth for this granular synth or for this harmonic grain sampler, I can also go to the key interface and change here the key. You see it's also C major now, but I can also change it just to C pentatonic again. Now it's harmonized. You see here the little harmonize controller. I can just turn it off. Now it's just pure the sample of the flute. An important thing is that you adjust the pitch of your sample. We still work on a pitch detector. You can just detect the pitch manually, maybe by your smartphone or detecting device. And there are different apps you can use for the pitch detection. And the harmonize controller, you can control the octave. And of course you have also the other functions I described before, like the grain shape, the length of the grains. And what's really nice you can hear is this arpeggiator effect. You have different options. can go up, can go down, can go in both directions, or choose random nodes. Of course, this can be also combined with the main effects or with the equalizer. Within the library, we have here the tab Music, where several one-shot tones of different instruments and synthesizers, which can be used also with the harmonic gain function, and which I can just select, and then immediately the sound will change. Maybe turn off here the room and the spatial function. Okay, just leave it like this. Now you have an idea of how the sampler interface works and how to use the granular function. Now I will go to the rhythm interface. For this, I will just add a new maze and go to drums, because what you have to know, the rhythm interface is divided in two sub-interfaces: the drum interface and the bass interface. And the best way to enter it is to just select one of the presets we made here. So first I will add some drums. So you have here the common 808 sounds. You have a sequencer. You have different quantization modes. And you have different banks for the sequence. So I can copy my sequence, go to the next bank and paste the sequence. And you can change the speed of the sequence. So the half of the main sequence loop, or you can double it. I have some states in between. Okay, this is the regular sequencer. You have the 3 rings, the bass drum, the snare, and a hi-hat. So let's go to the sound interface, and there you can define and modulate the sound for each of these 3 drum layers. First, I'm here in the bass drum, and because this is a sample of the 808 drum machine, you have here the sample controller active, and I can change the angle and change with it the pitch, and of course the volume with the radios. Same for the snare. You hear there's still a light aliasing sound, and we still work on the anti-aliasing effect, which hopefully comes with one of the next updates. But you can do somehow an owned anti-aliasing effect, for example with the filter. And if you like to change the sample of the drum sound, you can tap here on samples, and you have a list here where you can go through the different drum samples we provide. If you think, okay, let's change the amplitude of the bass drum, you can go to envelope, and you still see there's the bass drum selected, and you can adjust here the amplitude. Let's go back to the sound head in the beginning. So the 808 sound is the 0. You hear it better, I guess. Yeah. Same for the snare. Same for the hi-hat. Then you have also here, like in the sampler, the effects controller. And of course also the equalizer. So go back to the sound interface, and what you see here is also a synth controller for each of the drum elements. What you see here is also there's a synth controller for each drum element, and this is because in the beginning of the rhythm interface development, there was still the drum synth controller, and then later came the sampler. I guess it was like this. Maybe it was not like this. I'm not sure currently, but actually the rhythm interface is always a combination of a drum sampler, or generally a combination of a sampler and a synth. So here good when I turn on here the synth of the turn now the bass drum and the snare. You have the sample sound of the hi-hat and you have the synth sound, which refers also to the key interface. And of course also to the envelope controller. Then you have different wave shapes for the synth. You can change also the note length of each drum element and also of the synth notes with the radius controller of the pitch and length controller, or with the main length controller, which defines all note lengths for the whole drum loop. And then make a mixture of the sound of the synth and the sampler sound. Just use now this. So we have now a regular drum loop. So change here the samples of the hi-hat. Now I will show you the second mode of the rhythm interface. It's the bass mode. Just tap here or on the maze on new and add here the bass. I will use the neutral bass preset. And what you see here now, the step sequencer changed to the bass mode. It's here, this little icon bass mode also, where you can switch in between the bass and the drum synths. Now I have here a preset of the synth sound and you can just tap into it drum notes, rhythm notes, bass notes. I'm already, I guess this is also the end of the stream. The end of the stream comes close because of my concentration. This was a lot of information for you, but I will make some time marks so you can see the video later a bit more with the focus on the different modules. Okay, back to the bass. Same here, I can make different sequences. And go also here to the synth sound interface and change here the synth length, the synth length controller. We have a vibrato, which changes the the pitch of the single bass notes. And of course you can tap here, it's not perfect to find, but you can tap here on samples and change the bass shape. What's a nice combination for a bass is to combine the different layers. So a bass module can have up to 3 bass layers. So turn on the volume again, and then I will show you how to add another bass layer. I tap now on push to active. And now this bass layer is active. I can go to the next bass layer and also turn off push to active, and I have another bass layer. And change also the wave shape for this bass layer. And then add the third bass layer. Also push to active. With the next step, I go to the envelope interface and change the amplitude for each of the bass layers. And of course you can also change or adjust the equalizer for the bass and also put effects on it. Now it's really filtered. Yeah, and actually this was a little walk through the modules. I didn't talk today about automation. I will do the next stream about automation, because there's a huge part in Soniface which works with automation, and this is also the part where the body movements and also the touch interaction plays an important role. So just as a little hint, you can tap on nearly every controller in Soniface. Like I tap now on the volume and I come into the automation interface. And there you have different options to automate the sound. For example, with the sequence. You have different draw modes, like a free mode and a line mode. Or you have some random curves. Like I said, this works for most controllers in Soniface. And there you have also different other options to automate these controllers. For example, with body. Here you have the body interface. And so when I want to change the volume by maybe the right hand, I go here. And then if I have a camera selected, you can change the pitch and the volume by your hands. But this is for the next stream. This was just a little hint. I will delete now the automation connection and also clear the curve. And yeah, for the end, I will have just a little beat making session with the different modules I made today and I showed you. And yeah, let's go. just have a little comment at this point. Now we reached the limit of the Soniface free version. So actually I have here now 6 mazes. The Soniface free version allows 5 mazes. So what you hear now is kind of, things you can do with the free version. What I'm doing now is cloning the pattern, and this is what's the difference to the pro version. So I can go here on this little circle and tap on it. You see there's a number 1, so it's the first pattern, and I can just tap on it and clone it. And this is, for example, important when I want to make an introduction into the composition. So I have just here now the sequence of the grid synth. And now I tap on the second pattern and have, the whole pattern, all instruments. Okay, I will save now. Of course, this is really important to save the session, go to session, and because I already saved, I'm here in the sets, in the right folder, new session, or you can just also go to save and you're here in the session. You see it here, the first session is the new session. Just save. And like you can see here now, this little image looks a bit, more filled with modules. Yeah, that's what is it's about today. It's always hard to finish a stream. We want to tell always more. But I guess today is enough. And I will make a little cut of this video in the next days. So you have it more, reduced to the main things I talked about, and I will do some timestamps so you can switch on the right module you're interested in. And in the next stream I will talk more about automation. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice Friday and have a nice weekend. Bye.